Let's jump into that one as we see Trundle anti-bans fly away from Weibo. What sort of B1 takeaways do WE want to get out of the hands of WBG going forward? Gwen's one. Would really like to see this just be a Pantheon ban. Yeah.
Yeah. Pantheon makes sense. The likelihood, I think if you are willing, you can make a trade and say, we will give up Vi, which I don't know if Monki is necessarily going to prioritize, to make sure that we get a Zir on B1. That is something that is always up and on the table. We still also have a ton of different jungle champions. Again, Monki has a bevy of kind of unique pocket picks. The Graves that we actually saw get hovered early on in game number 1 is a champion that he's actually pulled out as well. To lesser success, but always things you need to be taken into consideration, especially with Fearless.
There goes the vibe, banned away from Weibo, so they'll kind of deny that trade. Do you commit to the Pantheon ban here? WE, if you don't ban it, it's immediately getting picked up, unlike that Azir that you might want to try and get a trade back on. They're going to leave it up. Take away Xiaohu's Aurora, which I think he's been one of his better champions despite his shortcomings so far this year. Kind of like the Varus B1, Tian, dude, this is just like Pantheon, right? This
has to be a Pantheon in my mind. I think Tian has been one of our better Pantheons, and if he's not able to get that, I fully expect Monki, especially as another early adopter of this champion. With the Aurora, maybe this opens up. Yeah, I was going to say, you're opening up maybe for an Azir. You're opening up as well here for Karis to potentially go for Pantheon Orianna. These are a really deadly combo, and with the Talia already taken away, now with the Orianna, or with the Annie and the Aurora, you're kind of opening up to get Karis again on a very comfortable mage that has really strong zone denial.
I understand the logic of getting Xiaohu on a champion that he's super comfortable on. The trade-off here is, I think, what you're talking about, those mid-jungles. I think if Monki just gets a Pantheon, like you're talking about, you pair Karis with something that can punish it, they're going to make it a... They might just make it a point here to really hurt Xiaohu early on when Azir is such a, kind of liability, but I don't know what's happening anymore if we lock... I mean, Taeyoon Ezreal is definitely his best champion, but are we not just taking Pantheon when it's left to... Uh-oh. All right.
We're getting quirky. So strong lane here from WE, but very confusing when we think about the priorities around the rest of the league. Pantheon has been nearly pick banned in every single series here in the LPL. So to see it be given away alongside a buffed Azir, big question marks here. This means that Tian now gets a champion that is going to be able to skirmish early, find off-lane lanes to play through, utilizing this ultimate. You can be very quick around the map, and now Weibo have 2 solid lanes and a very strong jungle champion now.
And a point-and-click stun for that public execution that could be so treacherous to try and hit here for Breathe. A lot of damage, a lot of agency packed into this top side. My question just becomes, where is Monki and, Teacher Ma's head at with the rest of this draft here? What do they want to get? They're going to get Karis and Akali. I do like trying to pressure the Azir as a punish, but now you've opened up Monki to kind of get better pairings for what this comp needs taken off the board. Gotta think Weibo just... Well, there are still a lot of good supports up there, but leaving both of your playmakers up for phase 2 bans is kind of a head-scratcher for WE.
You got to be looking at tank top laners right now. I think potentially getting rid of the Cassante versus this Mbessa is fine versus Cube. I doubt there's going to be a Renekton, but making sure that you don't have to deal with one of her harder lane matchups makes sense here. So for WE, they have strong skirmishing on the bottom side. I kind of want to see if Monki is going to be able to really utilize that as something they want to do. And does WE look for more supports that they're going to be banning away, or take away a strong champion that Light could potentially pull out? Light and Chris were one of the original duos to pull out a Caitlyn Karma lane, and this might be an all-out stomp if they want it.
See if they want to take that aggressive angle. Monki going to draw a Wukong band here, just get rid of some of those interrupt knockups. Where does R5 lie? Gotta think they give it over to Monki now that you know what Champions Cube can pick into Breathe. Still has some decent weak side options. Yeah, so Cassante is a decent hover. Don't know how Ornn would fit into this comp, but that would kind of fit his playstyle. Aatrox would... Wow, okay, so Cube, I don't feel like Aatrox is a champion he's super known for picking compared to some of these other LPL top laners, but
he's got a fair few Aatrox games so far, at least in Split 2. So I think it's fair. It's okay into this. I'm a little worried now because you're going to have a Pantheon you're going to have to deal with as this Aatrox, and the Azir is always going to be notoriously difficult here. So now as WE, our question, when you look at this composition, what is it, Monki, that you've been waiting for? A Neferi on 5. This is not the same Neferi that we saw take over in Split number 2. Weibo have such a robust front line, and they can very quickly snap into a kill one or two of your members with a point-and-click stun, with the Braum blocking so much of this dive coming in from WE. They need to be getting off the ground running, and this is not a team known for smashing laning phases. It allows for Monki and Vampire to link up as a 2v2, walk around the map, be very creative, get in the face of the enemy jungle. We need to see that kind of pathing, otherwise we think that Weibo are going to be in a really, really good spot this game.
100% all in. For all the woes we've highlighted for Xiaohu in this series and throughout the year, right now in this moment, this Azir, I mean, short-range city coming from WE. If, like you mentioned, there's only you've got Aatrox running at you that you can really be stunned up. Neferi can be a bit more slippery with that ultimate, but those are really the two main threats to ever touch Xiaohu's Azir. And if you're not taking him down a peg early, it is just pure definition Exodia for this Shuriman Emperor led by the General to bring Weibo to a Game 3. Comes down to execution now for the Spring Tiger, still slumbering in the summer.
It's going to be a tough one, but again in Tian, we've seen WE take these guys every single time in the regular season. And Weibo still stumbling, still struggling to find it. Lucian Braum, a very easy combo for this bottom lane to execute on, and Tian having one of the best junglers on the patch. Let's see if they can make it happen here.
Could this be our final game of the night? It's up to WE to decide. As we bring in the Giles once more. A little bit of level 1 chaos.
Okay. One of these teams is backed by the government. The other team literally is the largest, one of the largest social media platforms in the world.
Yep.
And we're doing cheers like that?
Yeah, see,
we gotta get back in, boys.
I thought it was a good shout, you saying like bump the mics, but then they did the crowd pan, and I don't think the mics would have saved it. I didn't see anybody committing to the gyro on those pans, so
sad.
I think it's a little disappointing. Nonetheless, is these short-range bottom lanes already jockeying for position. Chicken Camp's going to be warded up on the side of Monki. Karis going to get one down as well. Tian going to start at the Raptor pit. Both of these junglers going to be clearing bot to top here.
It's really important whenever you're playing against Monki to just get early vision on him, stop him from finding any early access, because he is a player that's very well known for taking more creative path. Oh my god. That is so close there. A lot of damage now down onto Vampire as the concussive blows will take a chunk out of him. And it is also a pretty decent trade coming in for Light and Crisp, just across the two lanes.
It does cost Christmas heal, but yeah, Vampire is walking on treacherous land. He only takes another stun from the Braum. Top side, we do see Cube on this Aatrox boy. He's got a handful of games, able to take control of this lane, getting over to level 2 first. See how well Taeyoon fares on the crash clear. It's going to be a bit difficult at first, and like we mentioned for this bot side, unlike some of the earlier game, neither jungler is going to really ever be in position to help out here. So both bottom lanes left to their devices, at least for the first couple of rotations. Oh, here we go. Like you called out.
Oh, he's literally just skipping his Raptor camp. It does not matter. I mean, Tian's still here. Karis is trying now to trade to see if he can get some damage. He doesn't get spotted. He's now sitting in this brush. He's waiting for Tian to use his E. Oh, there we go. Whoa.
All right. Tian, I think he's got
whoa.
He does some fancy work around these Qs. Braid's going to get over here first, and Monki not able to capitalize on the damage profile and hops right back out the way he came in. Still trying to be pesky though. Forces Tian to smite away his Grom. Just daring him. Try and force this engage, force this 1v1 that Monki certainly wants as he throws the stun back down. This is so much wasted time for, honestly, both junglers at this point.
Yeah, but one of these guys is being able to push the lane in, and the other one is Tian right now. Breathe is stuck under his turret, nothing for Tian to do. So Monki is going to get a pretty massive advantage. At least one camp.
Light flash. Gonna get the stun on the Vampire. One more auto to do it. Taeyoon has to Valkyrie, but that's flash out of Light.
I can feel that Light has not played this 2v2 in a little bit, because he started Q in this matchup. Typically, we've been seeing the Ardent plays because it allows for you to get a bunch of movement speed, as well as kind of leverage the fact that you get to have access to more of the on-hit damage that they added to the W. Because he started the Q, it's a little bit weird. You are seeing that lack of damage. Still a barrier available for both of our AD carries, and Monki is incredibly fed now. He stole the blue buff away from Tian. He took double scuttle and still has all of his topside camps to deal with, and will then have also his respawn Grom. So Monki in a great position here to suddenly skyrocket not only in gold but also in experience, which is so important for this Nefiri.
R5 Nefiri that kind of brought upon a head-scratching comp from WE, but like we talked about, draft is one thing, execution is the other. Sorry, my friend, -1 on that one. Got the cannon, but yeah, three buff. I'm curious to see when Monki feels comfortable going for a reset. I wonder if he goes off these Krugs or tries to get down to clear the Wolves and Gromp on his bot side. Dragon has spawned as Chris makes his way to get some vision back towards that quadrant. Tian gonna have a window to get on the map here, as we do see Monki gonna take that reset now and work his way back down towards the Dragon with, like you mentioned, a bit more gold coming out of base. Tunneler versus 2 longswords. Yeah, there you go.
That's pretty good. Has a lot of HP here. Something that we'll keep track of throughout this game is with Tian on this Pantheon, despite some of the early game woes and the fact that Monki has invaded him for at least a camp or two, is one of the advantages that we've seen from Weibo so far this year is their ability to play longer lanes and really be focused on really smart teleport usage in these fights. With a Pantheon, you can very easily turn a numbers situation in your favor. So if they are able to produce long lanes for WE to fight them in, watching for how Tian is able to affect the side lane and open up good spots for Weibo.
Here's a good spot being opened up by Vampire. Tian got spotted on that ward hovering topside. Can't know exactly when Tian goes for this reset, but there is a bit of a window, I feel, for Monki with that tunneler to kind of just burn through this Dragon. He's instead going to double up with Karis, who gets the wave push under for Xiaohu, and make sure that the Drake Pit is completely dark. Now we'll finally take his stance against the Dragon. Liking this bot side movement here from WE. They're setting up the correct vision, they're getting the waves in the proper states, and now they're going to try and take the Dragon. It's Weibo that have to answer and kind of force their way back up as Vampire tries to create a bit of a hover. Monki and Taeyoon need a bit more time to try and get through this Dragon, but yeah, Tian has walked up close enough to get vision on here, about 14k. 50-50 looming, but Weibo are going to respect the vision control WE have, and the Dragon will be picked up at 1 HP by Monki's back.
Very funny that he still ends up going for the smite there. Very dangerous to try to get into a smite fight versus Pantheon. That empowered passive that allows him to use the spear shot, and it's incredibly dangerous as execute on top of it. So that, alongside the smite, makes Pantheon a very lethal duelist when it comes to neutral objectives. Monki's going to hit level 6, and 30 seconds before these grubs. I do want to see Weibo play for these. I think they are a team that is much better at being able to utilize these grubs, especially with the range that they will have with this Azir. And in a side lane, empowering or taking away tools that a champion like Akali can do if she gets you alone there can be very, very potent, I think, for Weibo. So again, wanting to play the map a bit wider as we get resets coming on through, and Bessa will not have a teleport for this play, neither will Q. You have to expect that in terms of power, I think there is a little bit to be said that WE can definitely scrap, but I'm looking maybe at some of the difference makers right now. Vampire has an Ignite, Crisp does not. that could be a kill all by itself.
See what Tian's game plan is. I do think he needs to wake up and kind of stop this snowball from Monki a bit more. He doesn't get a camp advantage punishing the dragon. Now he's late to create this vision. There's a ton of pings coming through, but once again, Weibo, it's going to be a treacherous walk back down through the river as Chris tries to set up vision, and Mealy gets face checked by 3 members of WE, and there's the engage. Monki flashes for the headbutt. Can he get the stun lock onto Chris? No, and it sends Monki under the turret. He has to use the untargetable, going a bit too far forward there.
Xiaohu, though.
Xiaohu off to the side.
All right, they're cut off.
Over top. Yeah, they're completely cut off. No real way to contest these grubs now. WE have pigeonholed themselves. Will they try and brute force their way back through as they now set up Cube for a flank of his own?
Light can't get into this fight, and Bessa misses.
Yep, Breathe completely whiffs, and that ult is really going to sink Weibo as now it's the route back through for WE. They have Tian forced up against the wall. He has to flash out. Luckily for Weibo, they get 2 of the grubs before they have to burn some summoners. But summoners nonetheless at a cost for 2 grubs.
That's tough. I mean, flash away from Breathe and Tian is honestly not super impactful in my mind. I mean, this Pantheon champion just has so much access to durability with the Aegis, so not a big loss there, and especially, again, getting those grubs, it'll count for epic monster slaying in terms of the feats, as well as still spawn some Void Mites and deal a particular amount of damage towards these structures. Got still 4 minutes before these plates fall, so let's see how much Weibo's actually able to get done. They have not been actually at all touching much of these turrets on the side of WE.
Not at all. Seen no real plates drop down anywhere except towards the bot side. Rocket Belt going to be coming through first here for Karis, who had himself a bit of a CS lead. So he'll get back out of the map with that first legendary. Gotta think that Monki isn't too far behind, but he did take that reset getting the pickaxe. Cube's going to get some time with this topside turret, you'd think, but Breathe able to match like you talked about. Weibo pretty conscious on how they're able to neutralize dropping waves and making sure turrets don't lose plates or lose HP for nothing. It's one of their strengths. This is just a classic Vampire mission.
I love that Vampire's just getting wards. Knows that there's a dragon in a minute right now. W need to be very careful, and one of the things that is maybe harming Weibo is the fact that they weren't able to get any longer lanes for themselves. It is only 11 minutes into the game. Maybe they can make something happen onto Karis. No perfect execution for 10. He still has his flash right now, but they are searching. They are trying to find any small advantage that they can get. Cube is going to have a massive flank here. Monki!
All right. Not what he's expecting on the other side of that blast code. Tian going to smite with that execute like you talked about on the Pantheon to get the scuttle, but it comes at a cost if they can get the perfect execute. Glacial Prisoner isn't going to stun up Karis enough. Tian does not have the E to break the wall. It's a Monki to break the back of the support jungle duo for Weibo. 2 opening kills going right where they should be for WE.
Light was trying to pick up the minion wave on bottom lane, and Monki and Vampire have way too much damage and crowd control between the 2 of them to get things done. They'll find that pick onto Tian. It will be the flash invested by Monki, but 10 seconds before this dragon spawns, he has a Spear of Shojin completed here. So this Neferi is off to the races. He jumps in. He's like, okay, not the most comfortable position, but I win those. Karis is already here first, and he dashes in. This E from Tian is in the complete wrong direction. He thought that Karis was going to try to flank behind him, and he blocks none of the damage from the rest of the members of Team WE. So a great pick out onto 2 members for Weibo, and pretty good gold, getting them in a great spot to control this dragon now.
Like clockwork, it's Monki able to get the kills, and Vampire doing a beautiful job setting up with that double headbutt pulverize, and then what does he do? Pops Unbreakable Will and dares Light to try and walk past him. So the Lucian doesn't get any damage. Just a recipe for success when it comes to WE, and now they're getting the fruits of war coming through, or fruits of skirmish, if you will. Dragon's first 2 taken up there by Monki and already working his way back over to cover his topside camps. The snowball is officially rolling on this mid-jungle duo for WE. Question now becomes, where can they look next to capitalize on it?
Wow. If Chris was willing to trade his flash, maybe that's worth it. get a tag on a Monki. Don't think it's going to mean all that much.
All right.
Azir was trying to walk over, but instead going to decide against it.
Really hard to lock down Monki. Kind of daring Tian or Chris to commit as the AD carries go blow for blow. Light dropping the culling. Max damage nearly found. Taeyoon limps away, hurt from the battle. But Monki and Karis are still keeping up the pressure here in this enemy jungle. Making Tian think about every single camp he wants to try and take. And that does force Breathe down towards the mid lane. Gonna open up Cube a shot at this top lane turret. So Weibo trying to answer WE on the map right now, but coming up very short except for that skirmish from Light.
Breathe's still going to be able to pick up this wave. I don't think he's going to be missing out on much. That trade on mid lane was Light attempting to see if he can get a summoner spell out from Taeyoon. Doesn't end up being the case. And all that WE are doing, it looks like it's supposed to generate an advantage for Monki. And if he steals a camp, that's great. More importantly, what I think he's doing is trying to pull Xiaohu away from these waves. Stop the Azir from getting solo gold and alone time in a side lane. Stop Karis from maybe bleeding out the small advantage that he does have onto this Azir. And makes it so much better of a position here for WE, who have at least one grub. They picked up 2 of the first dragons already.
Oh, here we go.
There's a pick here onto Q. Flashes.
Crisp. Oh, he flashes and misses the Q. With that World Ender, can Cube get a big heal from the sweet spot? Yes, he can. Ult and stun layering from the Braum just not on point, and Cube survives the 2v1 burning his summoner.
Well, hey, look, we have 2 summoner spells now down. Crisp not having his flash isn't great, but Cube can't immediately get straight into the back line. Xiaohu can teleport for this. This is going to be the Herald spawning now. And while Karis is picking up this wave, I need to see Weibo put up a formidable front line around this objective. There's not enough pressure around this mid lane right now, and Tian is in the area. Monki is going to channel his recall right now, so this needs to be a time where Weibo are in position and getting ready for this objective.
They're going to finish off his camp quickly.
Woo.
Have that inside tracked. As you called out, Xiaohu has the teleport, but he does have to answer this bot wave, because both bottom laners are still trying to use that limited range to find a bit of a fight here as Monki gets back out first. Exhaust comes across. Chris's shield is going to be broken soon. The heal for the speed up. The culling into Vampire's face will easily chop down on it like breakfast. Feats of warfare secured by Monki. The re-engage for Vampire. He still wants more, and Light sees Monki fly halfway across the screen with Karis executed on the turn. Can the Sand Soldiers get the kill? Yes, they get one back onto Monki, but Karis is able to bounce back. Can Tian find the point-click stun over? Breathe flashes forward, but now Cube gets to hold the front line at bay. Xiaohu just a little bit too low to ever try and compete in this fight, but there's the stun layer. Taeyoon's gonna go back forward. The Vampire flashes after Xiaohu finds the kill. Can Breathe find the trade? Taeyoon is dancing around in the public execution with the chains layered on the Aatrox. No! Taeyoon's gonna fall, and now we're into a 2-on-2. Cube's running out of World Ender. Karis is waiting on cooldown. Doesn't have the HP bar, and Chris is here to try and save the play that he was picked off on.
Vampire's coming!
But Cube is still healing, still thriving, and now Vampire's back. It's the never-ending fight until WE slam the door on Weibo. Down falls Tian to give them 5 kills. Unless he flashes away, but the headbutt pulverize, there it is. 5 kills to cross a minute for WE.
You could send all 10 players, it's not enough. Few solid DPS, and it's still not enough for Weibo. Monki gets right back into the fight. Vampire get right back into the fight. And that's a Herald somehow, someway, ending here for Team WE. Multiple kills here for the solo lanes, and the shutdown onto Monki needs to have been worth it there as they lose an objective, and that's straight up the feats of warfare and the feats of strength going over to Team WE.
All right, Hulk, you talk more. All right, this was
I know. You got into the Omega fight of doom there. I was expecting, you know, maybe a unicorn to start popping out. We were talking about the never-ending story here. The teleport from Xiaohu I thought was going to do more, but he's hitting on a Vampire. Why are we not just trying to deal damage? What is he doing in this fight? It's cool that you did all of this to get Monki, but I feel like Xiaohu wasted so much time here on this Azir, and I feel bad for Breathe. He is trying his hardest. Some of these still mistakes, but Lucian is nowhere to be seen. We're back and alive.
Enough time. Monki wants more blood. Going after Light. Vampire, Unbreakable Will once again on the front line. Gets the heal out of Crisp. Not much really pays the price there for Weibo. The problem is now they don't have the inside track towards this river. as the Infernal Drake is up and available. You have control of this mid-late wave first.
Monki's in position there. Vampire, will he have a swap? Because if he has a swap, that either gives him access to the smite or maybe teleport, he gets back out sooner. That's not going to be the case. He's going to hoof it on over. Weibo need to use this time wisely to get back in. Again, no flash on Tian, no flash on Xiaohu, but same can be said here for Team WE. This Azir can be massive. He's level 11. He needs to step up for his team.
Weibo still have access to this Grand Starfall that we haven't seen used, by the way. 19 minutes in, the post-haste been used a lot. Karis gets thrown into the air. The alley-oop dunk down from the Spring Tiger is pristine. Karis doesn't even get to use a single ability.
There it is.
And here comes the Grand Starfall into the backline. Taeyoon, you are marked for death. Can like it close enough, though. That's a good headbutt coming across from Vampire. Gets the stun across. Chris goes down in the front line to Cube, who's just holding all the damage dealers at bay, mocking on them, daring them to chase down their AD carry. And now, all of a sudden, WE have another man advantage. They don't have a jungler. Wei won't even try and contest this dragon. WE will just not relent. Weibo can't find a way to win a fight right now.
Soul point there for WE, and the damage dealers here for Weibo are just crumbling. I feel bad. Light is playing well, but Xiaohu is just doing nothing. There's a massive investment onto Karis, and it barely gets them a position around this dragon. A reposition quickly from Tian turns into nothing, as the rest of his team cannot deal with Cube. This guy is standing up tall on an Aatrox pick that he's had varied amounts of success so far here in 2025.
He's got to go cash in on some of that gold. As we'll go back through this wacky fight that starts with Karis dying with no damage output.
The public execution from max range is already devious enough. But that's 2 ultimates invested for the Sakali. That's the kill going on to Crisp. And where is the damage dealer? Breathe is still in Narnia, for all I'm looking. And Xiaohu trying to hit. Where are the soldiers, brother? Like...
There's 2 of them on top of each other.
Yeah, they're slinging fries, bro, in bags never before seen. I don't know what's going on here. I feel bad, but Weibo, they are stumbling in these fights. There you go. Thank you. WE, they're doing everything right here. Yes, they make a few oopsie plays. Yes, they might be over-aggressive, but damn it, man, this team is fun. Damn it, dude, they are doing work here in this game.
The vibes will not be cut down by one member getting caught out, one member going too far forward, because no one member is going too far forward, WE. They're all going one way. They're all following Monki to a T, like we saw in that interview highlighted earlier. Respect my calls or get out. And right now, WE are finding success playing through Monki, who's onto the Otacon. He's going to come right off of it with that slippery interference. Just go after the free kill that is Chris. Glacial Fissure gets the shield up, but still, Monki will follow. Get the first reset with a stun skill layer. Monki's going to go down. Light gets that kill picked up. Into the backline goes Breathe. The knockups are coming across the board.
Look at Cube.
Shuts down Breathe. Cube able to provide so much space on this Aatrox. Xiaohu's Sand Soldiers just aren't doing enough right now to keep Weibo competitive.
Oh my god, this is such a close fight there. We got to see Breathe try to do something in the backline, and right now for Xiaohu, he needs to step up. He's now hit 2 items on his Azir. This is an important break point for them. This could be a turning point now. An Otacon being started. Teleports coming on through. First it's going to be the Alistar. Now it's going to be Cube. How much more can they get from the side of Team WE?
Vampire knows it. Tian doesn't have the health bars to compete here. They'll lean on the range of Xiaohu and get an assist from Otacon, getting a ton of damage onto Taeyoon.
Tian can Grand Star fall back.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think WE really want this Otacon to reset, I would think, because Monki is running back over. Who gets here first, the Pantheon or the Nefiri? It's got to be Monki. WE just burned the Otacon before the ult comes across here, and
gone.
They will. Otacon secured. Where is the Grand Starfall? Where are the support coming through for Weibo? That's a great Emperor's Divide to shut Monki away from the backline, but now WE, they just don't have to fight. Just run away with your Otacon. That spear's got to hurt, though. Vampire gets the first kill. Breathe. Public Execution not available just yet to dash through. Cube has the World Ender. Flash forward for Breathe, but Taeyoon gets out. All of WE gets out with the Otacon highway robbery.
All right, but how much more can Weibo actually get from this? It's going to be some jungle camp stolen. A turret finally taken here for Team WBG. Monki needs to be very careful, man. I don't think you should be allowed to hit this red buff, but Weibo, they want to reset, get back onto the map, because a dragon spawns in a minute's time. Items going to need to be very important here, and this game is getting closer and closer to being a Weibo loss. We check it in the replay here. This is the start, the very start of this Otacon. A creative angle. Chris getting caught out yet again on this Braum. Not having that same impact that we wanted to see from him. Just kind of a weird fight to take here. This could have been a perfect spot for Xiaohu.
Just doesn't have enough damage yet in Cube. The sustained value. You see the Sterix comes through. You pointed out so aptly, Alk. Right now, Cube is really the X factor on these front lines with how long he can survive and soak up Xiaohu's damage. The question becomes, will that continue as this game and this Azir scales up? Well, the Infernal Soul will definitely help the rest of the damage department. WWE forced their way back into the river.
All right, W would love to play for this. You see the items already completed. Monki on 2. Cube also has a Sterix up and available. Taeyoon's the only member would love to be able to back and get his Muramana, but just does not have the luxury right now. Weibo will have access to this midway first, and Breathe is on Vision. There's a ward, a single ward that will not get spotted out here by Weibo. So as long as Breathe is nowhere nearby, this public execution is going to be his only way into this fight.
Okay, Cube, gotta be careful. Face checking the brush. Gets away from the public execution though, and the World Ender heal with the Sterix.
That's huge.
Keeps him alive, but yeah, you knock Cube out of this fight. Now you have to deal with Karis though. Spotted out in the brush by Breathe. They're going toe for toe, throwing blow after blow. Vampire gonna try and frontline here. They just need to get Monki to secure the dragon. If they drop a couple members, it won't really matter. But where is Tian? Can he get the dragon?
Monki's
yes!
out!
It gets down to 200 HP, and the dragon is secured. Weibo with a lifeline, cutting off a huge win con for WE. And now they're going to chase down the kills. The Grand Starfall comes across, but the stun is interrupted. Tian will take Vampire instead of Cube. And Taeyoon and Cube, they're going to try and huddle up around their tier 1 turret, but that's not safe enough when Breathe is running it down from the brush. Taeyoon goes down without trading out light. Cube will fall to the Sand Soldiers. Here comes the Weibo comeback.
There it is. You see it in the bottom there. Xiaohu with the most amount of damage in that fight. Just WE on different pages. Monki is sending it onto different members of Weibo, and Weibo just decide, let's finish the objective. This guy's nowhere nearby. He doesn't have flash. He's not going to be able to jump over. They finally get some breathing room in this game. They shoot themselves up to 1,500 gold and stop yet another attempt at a soul here for Team WE. They need to be able to get that fight back as we head right into this replay. Cube, I think most importantly, surviving this play, getting 2 ultimates out from Weibo is a critical juncture here, but a misexecution coming in from WE stops them from getting the soul.
You can see it. Monki wanted to fly in with Karis. The dragon was so important, and Monki gets caught out on that front line. That one disconnect on the call might have just ruined the WE freight train in this mid-game. The route was on to chase down these last couple of kills.
They got 4 kills, and they got the bottom lane turret. Plus also, you know, a nice hand-me-down is the flash away from multiple members here of Team WE. So, pretty dangerous spot to be in. Another situation where a mid-game fight here for WE does not go perfect and ends up really backfiring in their face. All of that gold lead that Monki had is completely gone now. And this could be another turret here falling. Again, 2 grubs here for Weibo. If they ever decide to back off, it's another fight that ends up getting picked. Maybe someone else gets caught. Potentially a Baron here with a Lucian and an Azir.
Speaking on that Lucian, the gold lead in Weibo's hands, it's virtually all because of light. This is a gross difference between the marksmen. It's a full item with that Flicker Blade done. Taeyoon, more expensive items to buy, but still not able to go on par with Light, who continues to be a consistent standout in this series despite how close it felt like Weibo were to an 0-2 sweep.
This whole game, I've been focusing so much on Xiaohu because of the legacy, because of the role he's going to have to play on Azir.
Yes.
Crisp does survive. This is just a turret here for Karis. Has a teleport behind.
Coling, not really gonna get much damage, but yeah, Breathe has set the trap. Gonna spring it now with the Grand Starfall. It's layered well, but Taeyoon's gonna flash away from public execution. Chris gets out of dodge. Taeyoon goes down, and now Cubas, nobody really help him hold the front line because Vampire is far too low. WE spiraling on the back foot, and Weibo are looking to capitalize at the Baron Pit.
All right, Vampire, he has no HP. Is he going to look for a teleport swap back? Either way, it's going to be a numbers advantage here for Weibo. They can grab this Baron.
Oh my god, Monki! Caution to the wind, dives in first, headstrong, and boy, does it fall flat. Weibo read him like a book, and boom goes the dynamite. Weibo in control, and the Baron, their crown jewelling prize.
Weibo have bought themselves back into the series, back into this game. The likelihood we see a game 3 is only continuing to grow here. Vampire, you're just doing cardio, man. You're just visiting the Baron Pit area. You're a tourist right now in this side of the map. You're going to go back home, and that is going to be Baron confirmed for Weibo as they find another fight where WE, they just are not able to play a great teleport from Breathe to get it right into the back line of WE.
And after this, just the panic. Well, it really feels like WE are starting to spiral and panic with what they want to do, but as you called out, this teleport from Breathe and chaos ensues after.
They just left him alone. Like, Karis goes straight into the back line. Vampire is unfortunately having to deal with Tian and this Pantheon at the same time. The thing that W are recognizing now is the play of trying to pick out Chris before a fight is not working anymore. They've done this now 2 or 3 times in a row where they've tried to pick out this Braum, but it is too late in the game. He has too much HP, too many resistances, and WE are crumbling in front of our eyes. We saw this in game number 1 to a lesser extent, and every 5 minutes, Weibo have to be on point because there is a potential Infernal Soul on the cards here. But with more and more of this map starting to go in Weibo's favor, it's getting harder and harder to believe that WE will be able to find that win condition.
Alright, I thought that was a lot more dangerous than it looked. Fine. And yeah, and the win con now is Xiaohu is 3 items deep on this Azir that we talked about at so much range. WE going for the same play they always have, which is going after Chris. Survives and thrives. There's their Emperor's Divide to stop Karis going to the backline. This time they do execute Chris, and the Dragon is picked up. Breathe goes in the backline with the public execution, but he gets knocked up by Vampire. Monki goes back in, but falls flat once more. Stun lock on to Taeyoon from Tian. The executes of these assassins through WE just aren't hitting the same.
That's it. That's the game right there. Weibo have fought way too many times in this series right now, and they are making it count here versus Team WE. See how many tricky antics Karis can get up to. That's a spear shot right to the back, and that'll just end the game on the spot here. If the Nexus doesn't explode in the next 2 minutes, it's not all too concerning, as Weibo have absolutely gone to the point where their carries are in a really defining position. Light and Xiaohu standing side by side with Baron still at their backs for the next 35, and now 2 dragons that they've been able to grab for themselves.
Welcome back to another episode of What the Hell is Vampire Doing? As well on this bot side. Tian gonna flash over the turn, just kill him off.
Okay. Well, Tian gets to steal more camps, and for WE, it is frustrating for them to consistently try to bash their heads against the same wall time and time again. This big door that Chris keeps slamming in their face. And all the members of Weibo, they're too tanky for one reason or another. Light now has, he has the plated steel caps alongside this Hex Shrinker. Chris, obviously, is playing Braum. Xiao has a ton of HP that he's getting access to by way of the Haunting Guises and the Leandries that he's finished, now with the Zonias as well. This gold graph is truly tragic because, I mean, WE, they may not have had a massive lead, but the game pace was blitzing. It was completely blistering for Weibo to deal with, but they were able to hold on, and now, I don't know a way that WE get back that isn't a straight-up miracle.
Yeah, or a straight-up throw. Misposition from Weibo. Breathe is not about to do that. Going after Vampire. Giving 2 ults for this Alistair, who is served up the side of Fries. So, but at this point, burning those ultimates really just provides more value to knock down some of these standing turrets and get waves pressed up against WE's base. Like you mentioned, the gold lead wasn't big. It's important to remember that they had that 3K gold lead 3-0 up in Dragons and with Otacon buff as well on top of all of that.
It's a sight to see with, we're talking so much about Weibo and the things that have gone right for them. Obviously, Xiaohu and Light being able to stand up. Now Crisp, too tanky. For WE, I hate to call it out, but Taeyoon, man, I don't know what has happened to this guy, but from Split 1, he was the only reason WE were winning any individual games. And in Split 2, he was allowed to take a little bit of a seat back. He didn't have to be that massive carry because Monki takes up so much of this team's economy. But in this third split so far, and even at the end of Split 2, Taeyoon is definitely starting to, I think, come back down to earth in terms of expectations and how we expected him to play, especially from his days back in the LCK. So, unfortunate to see for a player that was having so many highlights in the beginning of the year start to kind of come back down and cool off at the end of the year.
Luckily for Taeyoon and WE, no matter what happens from here on out, they'll have one more shot to kind of right those wrongs. Because, as you called out, a miracle is what's required to keep this sweep alive. As Xiaohu starting to utilize those Azir turrets to keep waves continuously flooding into the WE base. And we've got Baron in about 25 seconds. Feels impossible for W to ever go for that. And then after that, a third straight Infernal Drake to deny that win con that we thought was so free for WE not too long ago. It's going to take a real Hail Mary, and they're going to have to risk their base just getting opened up on its own, WER, if they want to try and contest this Baron.
Even if, you know, it's the funny thing, even if WE get the Dragon, depending on how that fight ends out, that could just be the end of the game. And Tian, I mean, he has Flash. He's ready for that Comet shot. He's looking for it. They want it.
Oh, but Breeze's teleport was the real killer blow there. Tian doesn't even have to commit that Flash. And Monki down. Do you need any bigger of an assurance that this Baron is going Weibo's way? I don't think so. Oh.
They don't care about the Baron right now. This is all for this Dragon. Chris.
Before, just going after Chris, burning so much on top of him. Taeyoon has Breathe right in his grill, and that is a sore sight to see for WE fans. Breathe hasn't killed him off just yet, but it doesn't matter because behind him, all of WE crumble, and we're not going to need Baron. We're not going to need another Dragon. We're going to need a Game 3 to wrap up our day in the LPL.
Okay, good spot here from Weibo. They bounce back a game that looked really shaky in the early game. You got to think about the stylistic mismatch there where both of these teams are not early game focused. A great comeback here from Weibo in game number 2.
Great game. Tian and Light to really stabilize what was, again, such a worrying mid-game there.
Yeah.
But Weibo are alive, and all that matters is what comes in game number 3 now.
All right, well, out of the game 3 merchants now, LPL Weibo are the only ones to remain. Top Esports took that 2-0 today. Weibo are now going to move on. I feel like a very cursed win, honestly.
Yeah.
I know I'm a bit of a hater tonight. That's usually the case.
I don't think you're wrong, though.
But it's such a weird way to win. And if this was many other teams, we'd be potentially talking about this a little bit differently for Weibo.
Yeah, this is another win. I think you could have said the same for game 1 at points for WE, where you're not inspired with confidence on either of these teams, which is fun for game 3 because that means really anything can happen in sense. But again, the overarching themes for both these teams, especially Weibo with the expectations a roster with these type of names have on it, not inspiring confidence coming out of wins is problematic.
For sure, especially as a team that we are expecting to contest for a world slot, right? Like that is kind of the expectation. I'm starting to slowly get on the train that they're probably not making it out with how they've been looking. I'm going to need a massive surge in performance for multiple weeks in a row. You are in Group Ascents. You only really play against the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So still got another game in this series for them to prove that for themselves and continue to kind of hopefully bring more wins, because this is going to be a matchup that we are going to see twice. This is the first round robin that we're getting through here, and Weibo need every single win that they can get.
Looking back on this game before we get to future heavy with these two teams, I want to again call and give credit to this Weibo bottom lane. Because in game 1, we saw Karis with some really good flashes. Remember that Otacon fight where he set up the equalizer super well for the Ahri flank? That was awesome. We saw Light still get a lot of impactful usage out of the Jhin. And in this game round, you called it out. WE kept, it was like the definition of insanity, the way they kept trying to kill off Crisp at the start of these fights. And he was like, yeah, good luck, bro. And Light, you're going to see on the damage charts in the KDA, was phenomenal on this Lucian, especially once it got out of lane.
To WE's credit, it was working for the first 15 minutes of this game, first 20 minutes of this game. They would see Chris, cool, he's just a Braum, we can force him out, but then they eventually wasted too many tools on trying to kill this Braum, and Chris just kind of ended up being a global taunt here for Team WE, something that ended up backfiring very heavily, losing them the game. So I'm glad to see that Light is starting to perform. We're getting more and more of the kind of carry performances from him. I think we got to see glimpses of it in game number 1, but unfortunately, the rest of the team just wasn't all there. Kind of feels in a very similar vein to a Jackie Love that we were talking about early, where early splits were muted, but now are starting to come into form with a bit of a support change.
And I think that's a very fun thing for the future of this split, because I think AD carry play has been very up and down this year. So if we get a really good Light split and a really good Jackie Love split at the same time, can really fix those woes as we slowly start to watch the collapse of the WE lead that we were so confident in this game.
Yeah. I do want to say we were kind of making a joke about secondary MVPs. Cube, man. Cube is becoming legit. He's doing things against players that have 10x his resume, making them look a little bit silly here. Aatrox was really great. We got to see him in game number 1 as well in this game, or in the series, do pretty great things and be a driving force for this team, which is not something that we typically say for Team WE.
No. And you really get to see the space that he buys on this Aatrox in those first opening fights. But it was good to see that Weibo, despite all that chaos, were able to get to those break points we talked about, the late game. Xiaohu ends up actually topping the damage charts. He started, placing those Sand Soldiers in the right spots and getting the most damage out of this Azir. But again, you get him that super comfortable pick with the B1 you invest. Where do you take Xiaohu right now on a red side draft game 3 to try and get him in the same comfortable vein for this series?
I think a lot of his champions are still up, though. Orianna, you still have the Aurora as well. Yep. Potentially a Silas angle is in the works. So my issue always with WE is they are not fans of taking series late. The fact that they went 5 games with Top Esports is supposed to be an anomaly in the regular season. They very rarely won any of their game 3s. So to see them here and now in this series is potentially worrisome if you think statistically. I actually pulled it up. Out of their 18 series that they played last split, 7 of them went to 3. They only won 2 of those series.
Not good numbers.
Yeah.
Whose numbers, though, from this game 2 are good enough to get your player of the game here?
Light.
Hulk for
Light.
Weibo? Okay, Light. Yeah.
My list is probably like Light, maybe Tian, but Tian's early game was completely biffed thanks to Monki and Vampire being a little mean in his jungle.
I would tend to agree. I would have gone Light, Tian, and I would have accepted if you somehow give it to Chris, but I think it's going to end up going to Light nonetheless, which would, again, be good to see as we start to form this thematic rise for some of these, dormant, veteran LPL AD carries. It would be awesome. I'm going to keep pushing the point, knowing what we got from Pays. You can make the playoff choker jokes if you want. We're in the regular season right now. Regular season Pays, Light, you got Jackie Love coming on form. Elk was looking pretty good. I still think underrated in a lot of the BLG chaos. Come on, let's get the split of marksman, and we're gonna sing it home by giving a marksman.
Producer Kai, send us a break. No, wait, no. Ah!
Ah! Well,
Producer Kai, I wasn't joking.